Alright, hello, citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel here once again, and this is going to be another movie review. We kick off the month of March because it's going to be uploaded on the first day of March on Wednesday. We kick off the beginning, sort of with the end, and we conclude the Batman Dark Knight Trilogy with The Dark Knight Rises. Uh, what a journey it's been. But we'll cover more about it in the retrospective. As for this review, as always, I'm not professional movie reviewer or analyst. Just a man who enjoys a good time, and for the most part, I had an okay time with this movie. Um, is it as good as The Dark Knight? I wouldn't say so. Is it as bad as Batman Begins? Even though, when I say like bad, I mean like Batman Begins not as good as like Dark Knight, but is it in the same vein as Batman Begins? Not really. I wouldn't put it below Batman Begins, but I would not put it above The Dark Knight. Hey, I feel like this is a polarizing movie. This is a movie he definitely that people either really like or really hate. Um, and I can kind of see both sides of the paradigm. Um, but yeah, so let's get right into it. Starting with what I liked about the movie and everything. Uh, a lot of the stuff that they got right, it just in the trilogy as a whole, for the most part, is still intact here. You know, Bruce Wayne as Batman and everything, and how he goes about, and uh, stuff that there's a lot of stuff in the shadows, if that makes any sense, where a lot of stuff goes on behind the public eye in terms of what Bruce Wayne is doing and everything versus what Batman's doing. And we kind of see the Bruce Wayne kind of picking up from the Dark Knight, where he's like unsure if he wants to be Batman anymore, unsure if the world needs Batman, but eventually goes up into the saddle as he confronts the new main antagonist for this movie, which we'll get to. A couple cool twists and everything, such as like the person Bruce Wayne sells the company to and trusts the company to turns out to be Talia al Ghul, the daughter of Ra's al Ghul. Who, there's some nice action and everything. Catwoman and in this movie did a pretty decent job. So just some of the stuff that they did that was good in the Dark Knight trilogy as a whole, I think for the most part carries through here in the Dark Knight Rises. Um, some of the stuff I wish they could have did a little bit better, but for the most part, a lot of stuff that if you enjoyed a lot of the stuff that they did throughout the first two movies here in the Dark Knight trilogy, I think you'll appreciate it here as well. Oh, and I believe this is the longest out of all three movies in the Dark Knight trilogy. So there's a lot of time for things to really go and flesh out and everything. And culminating with what you think is Batman's death, but it turns out, or Batman slash Bruce Wayne's death, but it turns out how Bruce Wayne pretty much living kind of the quiet life, kind of stepping out of the limelight both as Bruce Wayne and as Batman, and fulfilling Alfred's wish for him to like give up the superhero life, or even though Batman's not really a superhero, he's a detective. There's a big difference because Batman doesn't have any superpowers, but pretty much giving up that life, hanging out with Selena Kyle, and pretty much being happy and getting to live his life and everything, and knowing Gotham is saved, at least for the most part. There's a couple returning faces. He says there's the obvious ones such as Batman, Alfred, Jim Gordon, everything. Scarecrow, this time actually gets to do a little bit more. Turns out he's somewhat involved with the main antagonist, which we'll get to. I'm not naming him just yet because we're gonna get to him obviously, but Scarecrow slash Jonathan Crane, and gets a little more to do than in the Dark Knight. Even though it's even less than in Batman Begins, and it does kind of suck because I feel like the Scarecrow, aka Jonathan Crane's involvement, kind of goes down and down and down even more, or as the trilogy progresses. He's not even wearing the Scarecrow mask this time around, which kind of sucks. Um, but yeah, a lot of the stuff that they did right throughout the trilogy, he makes his way in here or again, and once again, like how the characters interact with each other and how things are fleshed out and everything. And oh, a lot of that good stuff makes it in here. But in terms of what I didn't like, where it kind of falls flat at almost, starting with the antagonist this time, which is Bane. So Bane, right off the bat, I gotta say it, too skinny. Bane, he is big in the movie. He is fairly large. He's played by Tom Hardy, who ironically also played another like big sized villain later on in Venom. But Bane, he is big. Like you could tell he's physically like strong and everything, and he does knock around Batman. And they even do the iconic scene from like the Batman Nightfall comic where Bane breaks the Batman's back and everything. But I do wish he was a lot more buff. Because the thing about Bane in the comics is he towers over Batman, mostly because of the venom toxin. There's venom again. The toxin that allows him to be all buff and stuff. Allows him to be all like super big and gassed up and strong and everything. They do have some of like Bane's qualities there that makes it in, such as like his intellect, the fact that he already knows Batman's identity as Bruce Wayne, which he figures out in the comics, and everything, and he also figures out in like the Arkham games as well, where he figures out Bruce Wayne's identity, and he's able to take over and everything. So showing that intellect, but in terms of like physical appearance, I wish they would have worked on it a little bit more. Even if it was like some like special effects, which they might have looked a little cheesy, but at least Bane would have looked buff and everything. But as a main antagonist, I think they kind of tried to go the same route that they did with Joker, or where he's trying to go against the norm, and try to cause chaos and everything, and try to disrupt the order of things, and that worked for Joker. But Bane, I think, it almost comes across as a rehash a little bit, if that makes any sense. Where it's not as good as it could have been because they're kind of going to the old formula of, oh, we did this for Joker, surely we can do this for Bane as well. But the thing is, I don't think it really works the way they intended it for it to work. He does have his interesting moments as an antagonist. He's interesting for the most part, but that rehashing, I think, is what kind of drags the movie down a little bit. That, and in terms of action, this movie is very bottom heavy, similar to like the first one, where there's a little bits of action sprinkled throughout, but then there's a whole bunch of action later on. That's kind of what the first movie did. The second movie, there was action constantly throughout, which it's a superhero movie, so you want like a bunch of action throughout. But the first one, it was sprinkled in a little bit. The first one even sprinkled it in a little bit more towards the beginning, and then put a lot of it towards the back. That's kind of what they did here for The Dark Knight Rises. So taking that aspect, which is a little bit disappointing, which, because obviously, yes, because there's a narrative and everything, and you obviously want the character building and everything, especially in this trilogy, which is known for its character building. And, you definitely want character building, and you want the narrative. You want a good narrative. You want a compelling narrative that you can follow along with. But you also want action as well, because it's a superhero movie. Superhero movies usually have action and everything, which this movie does have. And to its credit, the action that they shove in the bottom half have there is a lot of it, but they could have put a little more of it towards like the front. And it's a bit bottom heavy for my liking, but maybe that's just me. hey, let me know if you guys agree or disagree with that. And if you disagree with that, that is totally fine. But yeah, so a little heavy on the back end and everything. But otherwise, a pretty decent movie. Nice way to wrap up the Dark Knight trilogy, and that is the Dark Knight trilogy wrapped up here in the Nigelverse. So thank you all so much for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video so you can see as soon as it drops. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts of the movie, your thoughts on my review of the movie. Did you like, dislike the movie? Did you like, dislike my thoughts on the movie? Let me know what your favorite and least favorite movies from the Dark Knight trilogy, if you've seen them, and do you think I did the reviews of them justice? So what I'm gonna do for the Dark Knight trilogy, my reviews of them, is I'm going to edit them together into a compilation. So if you miss the reviews for the other two movies in the Dark Knight trilogy, which of course is Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, you can go and check those out. So you can watch all three of them at once. But then also what we're gonna do, and if I'm gonna do this. If not this week, then next week, the latest. Of course, our retrospective, talking about the high points and the low points of the trilogy, my favorite moments from the trilogy, my least favorite moments from the trilogy, my favorite, pretty much my favorite and least favorite everything in terms of the trilogy, the things I like, things I dislike, all that stuff. Pretty similar to how I did with the other retrospectives I did on the MCU and these Skywalkers, the Star Wars Skywalker saga, and the Spyro trilogy. So if you haven't already, go check out those retrospectives. And as I'm going to start preparing for the Dark Knight trilogy retrospective. But nevertheless, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for being on this journey with me as we looked at the Dark Knight trilogy. And let me know what other saga movies you guys want me to check out as well. I'm not sure which one I'm going to do next. I'm thinking about doing maybe the X-Men movie. But if you have another saga of movies that you want me to check out, let me know. But thank you all so much for watching. I'll let you guys go now, I guess. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys later. Peace.